What is a beneficiary designation? When it comes to estate planning, many people focus on wills, trusts, and other legal documents. While those tools are certainly important, there is another planning tool that is often overlooked, yet it can have a significant impact on who receives your assets after your death. That tool is known as a beneficiary designation. A beneficiary designation is a legal instruction that tells a financial institution who should receive certain assets when the account owner passes away. These instructions are typically completed when opening an account, purchasing an insurance policy, or enrolling in a retirement plan. In many cases, beneficiary designations are straightforward. You simply name one or more individuals who will inherit the assets held in that particular account. However, what many people do not realize is that these designations can carry tremendous legal weight. In fact, beneficiary designations often determine who receives assets regardless of what is written in a will. Before discussing why that matters, let's first look at the types of accounts that commonly use beneficiary designations. Retirement accounts are among the most common examples. This includes traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs, 401k plans, and other employer-sponsored retirement plans. When you open one of these accounts, you are usually asked to name both primary and contingent beneficiaries. Life insurance policies also rely heavily on beneficiary designations. The insurance company will generally distribute the death benefit according to the beneficiary form on file. Certain annuities use beneficiary designations as well. Depending on the contract, these instructions help determine who receives remaining benefits or account values after the owner's death. Many financial institutions also offer transfer on death, or TOD, designations for brokerage accounts. Similarly, some banks allow payable on death, or POD, instructions for certain deposit accounts. These designations serve an important purpose. They allow financial institutions to transfer assets efficiently and according to the account owner's instructions, without requiring additional court involvement in many situations. At first glance, beneficiary forms may seem like routine paperwork. Many people complete them quickly when opening an account, and then rarely think about them again. That is where problems can begin. Life changes. People get married, they get divorced, children are born. Family relationships evolve, loved ones pass away. Yet beneficiary forms often remain untouched for years or even decades. As a result, the instructions on file may no longer reflect the account owner's actual wishes. Imagine a retirement account that was opened 20 years ago. At the time, the account owner named a spouse as the primary beneficiary. Years later, the couple divorced and both moved on with their lives. The account owner eventually remarried and updated a will to reflect the new family situation. However, the beneficiary form on the retirement account was never updated. When the account owner passes away, the financial institution may still be legally required to distribute those assets according to the beneficiary designation on file rather than the instructions contained in the will. Situations like this occur more often than many families realize. The good news is that beneficiary mistakes are often preventable. The first step is understanding how beneficiary designations work and recognizing their importance within an overall estate plan. As we will discuss next, one of the most surprising aspects of beneficiary designations is the relationship they have with wills. Many families assume a will controls every asset, but that is not always the case. And understanding that distinction could help prevent costly mistakes for the people you care about most. When beneficiaries override a will. Many people assume that once a will has been created, it controls the distribution of every asset they own. It is an understandable assumption, but it is not always correct. certain financial accounts pass according to beneficiary designations rather than instructions contained in a will. This distinction can surprise families and, in some cases, create outcomes that were never intended. When a financial institution has a valid beneficiary designation on file, it is generally required to follow those instructions. The institution is not interpreting family circumstances or comparing documents. It is simply following the beneficiary form associated with the account. Consider a common example. An individual creates a will stating that all assets should be divided equally among 3 children. Years earlier, however, that same individual opened an IRA and named only one child as the beneficiary. If the beneficiary designation remains unchanged, the IRA may pass directly to the named beneficiary, regardless of the instructions contained in the will. To family members, the result can seem confusing. Yet, from the perspective of the financial institution, the account owner already provided legally recognized instructions through the beneficiary designation. The same principle often applies to life insurance policies, annuities, and certain brokerage accounts. This is why estate planning professionals frequently stress the importance of keeping all planning documents aligned. A will, trust, and beneficiary designation should support the same overall goals. Problems can arise when one document is updated while another is forgotten. For example, a person may revise a will after a major life event, but never review older beneficiary forms. Years later, those outdated designations may still control the transfer of specific assets. The lesson is not that wills are unimportant. Wills remain an essential part of a comprehensive estate plan. Rather, the lesson is that beneficiary designations deserve the same level of attention. Understanding how these documents interact is one of the most important steps families can take to avoid unintended outcomes. Next, let's examine some of the beneficiary mistakes that occur most frequently and how they can affect the people left behind. The most common beneficiary mistakes. Many beneficiary problems are not caused by complicated estate planning issues. Instead, they often result from simple oversights that remain unnoticed for years. One of the most common mistakes involves a former spouse. Imagine someone who named a spouse as the beneficiary of a retirement account many years ago. Later, the marriage ended, financial lives moved in different directions, and a new family chapter began. The individual updated a will, revised financial plans, and assumed everything was in order. However, the beneficiary designation was never changed. Years later, when the account owner passes away, the financial institution may still be required to distribute those assets according to the beneficiary form on file. Another common mistake is failing to name a contingent beneficiary. A primary beneficiary is the first person designated to receive an asset. A contingent beneficiary serves as a backup if the primary beneficiary dies before the account owner or cannot inherit for some reason. Without a contingent beneficiary, the transfer process may become more complicated and could create delays for surviving family members. A third mistake occurs when beneficiaries pass away and account records are never updated. Many retirement accounts remain open for decades. During that time, circumstances naturally change. Family members grow older, relationships evolve, and some beneficiaries may no longer be living. If those designations are not reviewed periodically, the account owner's intentions may no longer be accurately reflected. Another issue involves forgotten accounts. Throughout a career, people often accumulate retirement accounts from previous employers. They may also own multiple insurance policies, brokerage accounts, savings accounts, or annuities. Some of these accounts receive little attention over the years. yet each may contain beneficiary instructions that continue to control how assets are transferred. Minor children can create another planning challenge. While many parents understandably want to leave assets to their children, naming a minor directly as a beneficiary may require additional legal steps before those assets can be managed. Depending on the situation, parents may wish to discuss available options with qualified estate planning professionals. Some families also encounter problems because assets are unintentionally distributed unevenly. For example, one child may be listed as the beneficiary of a large retirement account, while other assets are expected to balance things out. Over time, account values can change significantly. What once seemed equal may no longer be equal years later. Communication is another area that deserves attention. While financial information is personal, trusted family members should generally know where important documents are located and whom to contact if questions arise. A lack of information can create confusion at a time when families are already dealing with emotional stress. The encouraging news is that most beneficiary mistakes are preventable. They do not typically require complex strategies or expensive solutions. In many cases, a periodic review of beneficiary forms can identify issues long before they become problems. The challenge is not complexity. The challenge is remembering to review information that may have been completed many years ago and then forgotten. Next, let's look at the specific accounts that should be included in every beneficiary review. Accounts you should review. Now that we've discussed some of the most common beneficiary mistakes, the next question is straightforward. Which accounts should you actually review? The good news is that most families can identify the important accounts fairly quickly. Retirement accounts should usually be at the top of the list. This includes traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs, 401k plans, 403b plans, and similar employer-sponsored retirement accounts. Because these accounts often transfer according to beneficiary designations, it is important to verify that the information on file remains accurate. Life insurance policies are another high-priority item. For many families, life insurance benefits represent a significant financial resource intended to support loved ones after a loss. Ensuring beneficiary information is current can help those benefits reach the intended recipients efficiently. Annuities should also be reviewed. Depending on the contract, beneficiary designations may determine how remaining account values or benefits are distributed after the owner's death. Brokerage accounts deserve attention as well. Many brokerage firms offer transfer on death or TOD designations. These instructions allow assets to pass directly to named beneficiaries under certain circumstances. Bank accounts may have similar arrangements known as payable on death or POD designations. Although these accounts are sometimes smaller than retirement accounts, they can still play an important role in an overall estate plan. Former employer retirement accounts are frequently overlooked. Many people change jobs several times during their careers. As a result, retirement savings may be spread across multiple accounts established over many years. An old 401k from a previous employer may still contain beneficiary instructions that have not been reviewed in a very long time. It is also worth reviewing any account that allows beneficiary designations, even if the balance seems relatively modest today. Account values can change over time, and small accounts may eventually become more significant than originally expected. One practical approach is to create a simple inventory. List the financial institution, account type, approximate balance, and current beneficiaries associated with each account. This exercise not only helps identify potential gaps, but also provides a useful reference for future reviews. Remember, the goal is not necessarily to make changes. The goal is to confirm that each account continues to reflect your wishes and remains consistent with your broader estate planning objectives. Once you know which accounts to review, the final step is establishing a simple process for keeping beneficiary information current. Beneficiary Review Checklist. We've discussed what beneficiary designations are, how they can affect the transfer of assets, the mistakes that often occur, and the accounts that deserve attention. Now let's bring everything together with a practical beneficiary review checklist. First, schedule periodic reviews. Beneficiary designations should not be treated as a one-time task completed when an account is opened. A review every year or two can help ensure your instructions remain accurate and aligned with your current wishes. Second, review beneficiary information after major life events. Marriage, divorce, remarriage, the birth of a child, the death of a family member, or significant changes in family circumstances are all good reasons to revisit your beneficiary designations. Third, confirm both primary and contingent beneficiaries. Many people remember to name a primary beneficiary, but forget to establish a backup. Contingent beneficiaries can provide an additional layer of protection if circumstances change unexpectedly. Fourth, create a simple account inventory. List your retirement accounts, insurance policies, brokerage accounts, annuities, and other accounts that contain beneficiary instructions. Include the financial institution and the beneficiaries currently on file. Having this information organized can make future reviews much easier. Fifth, make sure your estate planning documents work together. Your will, trust, beneficiary designations, powers of attorney, and other planning documents should support the same overall objectives. When documents are updated independently, inconsistencies can sometimes develop over time. Sixth, keep important records in a secure location. Trusted family members or designated representatives should know where to find critical information if it is ever needed. This can reduce confusion and administrative challenges during an already difficult time. Finally, seek professional guidance whenever questions arise. Estate planning decisions often involve legal, financial, and tax considerations that vary from one family to another. Professional advice can help ensure your plans are aligned with your goals and current laws. The purpose of beneficiary planning is not simply transferring assets. It is helping ensure that your intentions are carried out and that your loved ones experience fewer complications during an emotional period. The good news is that beneficiary reviews do not require a major time commitment. A few minutes spent reviewing account information today could help prevent confusion, delays, and unintended outcomes in the future. As we conclude, remember this important principle. Beneficiary designations are among the most powerful estate planning tools many people have, yet they are often the easiest to overlook. Taking the time to review them periodically may be one of the simplest steps you can take to help protect your family and preserve your wishes.